Hi guys, welcome back to another video. We are back. Sorry I have not been filming for a little while. As you guys know, I've had a bit of drama with the last build that we were on, and yes guys, we are officially off the job. So we officially severed ties with the developer, and yeah, we've basically both agreed on terms and we've moved on. So we will not be back on that job again. But guys, we are back anyway. Got some new content coming up as well, and today's something a little bit different. I'm actually for the first time ever doing some work at home. And if you're a builder, you know your wife will be nagging you to get this done, and you never have the time or the energy to do it, especially when you come from work and then have to do work on the house. So today they're all off for the weekend, and so I'm going to do him a little surprise. Let me see if I can get one or two things sorted out around the house. So one of the important things, which is really urgent, is this handrail. So this handrail needs to be sorted out. I'm going to show you guys what's wrong with it, and I'm going to also show you some tips on how to sort out a situation like this. It's a very common problem where you have walls blowing, screws, wall plugs pulling out of walls and stuff like that, and you just can't get them tight again. So I'm going to show you guys a couple of steps on how we can sort that and get this thing nice and solid again. Right, so let's have a look at this first. So let me show you. Actually, I'm going to start on the top. The top is actually the best one. So I'm going to show you what it should be like. And my daughter, whenever she comes down the stairs, she swings on this thing, pulls it when she's coming down. So it's getting worse and worse. So I'm going to show you guys what it looks like in a moment. So this is what it looks like now. If you guys can see, you can see this one here is very solid. Well, actually I say solid, there is a bit of movement actually, so we do need to make that a bit better. But this is probably the best one. It actually hasn't pulled out of the wall yet, but it is still a little bit wiggly, so that needs to be sorted out. Now the other ones, as we go down the stairs, they get worse. You can see this one here pulling off the wall, and probably the middle is the worst actually. This one, the plugs are pretty much hanging out, and you can see all hanging out. And then this one here is even worse, as you guys can see. And then this one here again is also coming off. So first things first, I'm gonna take these all off, and then we're gonna have a look and see the extent of the damage, and I'll show you guys how I'm gonna sort this out and get this thing nice and solid back to the wall. A good tip when you're trying to get around things like this is to either get a really long one of these, or you can add onto each other and extend them, so that way your drill's not going to be in the way and you can get to those long screws like that. Here we go guys, taking it all off, taking these ones off, and now we can see the extent of the damage. So as I said, this one is not too bad. There's no damage or pulling out of the walls. Some of these, as we go down, you can see here, for instance, this plug is coming out. This one's coming out as well. You can see this one. These are all pretty much come out of the wall. Now I'm going to keep these because they might come in handy. Same thing for these. These ones are all coming off quite easily. The plugs should never really come out of the wall that easily. They should sort of be quite hard to get out. So if they're quite easy to come out like that, it just means the wall is probably damaged around the plugs. You can see this one here. You can see how big the holes are. The holes have gotten too big for these plugs. Now this is solid brick wall, just to let you guys know. Now some of them was a little bit further in, so a little technique today, screw this in a little bit, not too tight, and you should be able to get some purchase on and pull these out like that. right, so this one's really solid in there. So I'm going to leave this one because this one's probably fine. So we'll work on these two here. All right, guys, so these are the original wall plugs that I took out. These are the original screws. You can see they're black. They obviously match the bracket. And these is what I'm going to be replacing them with. These ones here and these screws here. So I'm going to go through a couple of things. These are quite a common wall plug. They're both brown, so they're both the same size. Wall plugs are generally, their sizes are denoted by the colors. You have browns, you have reds, you have yellows, you have blues, typically. And then you have grays as well, which usually are a bit bigger. So brown is probably one of the most common sizes that we use. It's good for a screw like this. I think it's 5 mil, we call these screws. That's the thickness of the screw. So you can get 5, 6s, 4s, 3s, etc. But fives are what we use for most stuff when we work anyway. Now, a couple of different things with these screws. The thread on these screws are a lot tighter than the thread on these. So if you look at the difference between the threads, these threads are, the gaps between the threads are bigger, tend to be harder to pull out than the ones with the tiny threads like these. So usually, most of the times when we, I mean, in this case, we probably would have used these because they're black, they match. But usually when we buy stuff and we get screws and wall plugs, we chuck them in the bin and we use our own ones, which usually are these, which are usually a lot stronger than whatever you get with your, you know, product that you purchase. So these ones, if you look at the difference, there's a split in the bottom of the wall plug. So the top is sort of solid and the bottom is split open. So as the screw goes in, it splits the bottom open, and that's how you get tightened. These ones are sort of the opposite. So you can see they're closed at the bottom, but the split goes all the way to the top. So they sort of open at the top rather than open at the bottom. And they still do open at the bottom because obviously the screw ends up piercing through and does open the bottom, but it tends to open from the top rather than from the bottom. So that's slightly a difference. I find these ones hold better in the wall than these ones. Also, these ones have this sort of flange around the top. Again, if you look around the top, there's a sort of little flange. So when you knock them into the wall, it kind of stops them from going all the way in. And also, if they do go all the way in, which is what we'll probably be doing with these ones, they tend to get a bit tighter inside here. Whereas these ones, because they're sort of smooth all the way around, when they go in, they sort of don't lock in as well as these do. Obviously, you do have this little locking tab here, which is supposed to stop them from pulling back out. And these ones have the same locking tabs as well. Now, the screws, as you look at here, you can see this screw is longer, probably about 10 mil longer than the ones that are in there. These are about a 50 mil screw. I think these are 40. So we will be using a longer screw just to get more purchase in there. And even though these don't need to be that long, what I will be doing is I'll be knocking these further into the wall. So therefore I will need a longer screw. So that helps with that. So let's look at the holes here now. So these are the original ones that were in there. So you can see these ones, there's a lot of movement. These should go in very tight. It should not be loose like that. I want to be able to knock these in with a hammer and have some sort of resistance. These ones here, again, the same thing. They are too small. So I'm going to show you guys a way we can get around that. So remember I told you that I was going to be keeping these because we'll probably end up using them. So here we go. What I've done is I've just taken a knife and just split these right down the middle. They're already split halfway. Just take a knife and cut through and split it so I get these two pieces. Okay, so what I'm going to use these for is I'm going to use these as shims to make this wall plug a bit thicker and to close up the gap between the movement in the wall plug and the wall. So what we can do is we can start, sometimes one shim will be fine. In extreme circumstances, when maybe some of these might be too bad, I might have to use a shim on both sides. I might have to use one on one side and one on the other side. So I'll show you guys. So if I push that in, you can see it's already tighter. Now, these are not going all the way in because they probably need to drill the hole a little bit deeper. So I'm probably going to drill all these holes slightly deeper than they are now because I've got a longer screw as well, just to make sure that the screw will go all the way in. But also, there still is a bit too much movement in there for my liking. So what I would then do is take another shim. I'm trying to do this with one hand, and I will put two of them together like this. So I sort of sandwich the wall plug between these two shims. Then I will try and get it in. And that already is feeling a lot tighter. So once I do drill this hole longer or deeper, I should be able to use a hammer and knock these in, and these should go in really tight. I want this to be really, really tight that I can't pull it out and that it just doesn't move at all. So when you get the screw in, the screw is gonna open this even tighter and then just really make sure that it's rigid in the wall. So next job is get a drill bit, the right size, and we're gonna drill these in. So a 7mm bit is good, or maybe an 8 in this case. These holes are quite big. I'm gonna drill all the holes in all of them. I'm gonna make them deeper. So what you're looking for is you want them to be basically just pretty much just about the length of this screw. All right guys, so I've drilled all the holes. These are all done, all ready to go. The only one I haven't done is this one, which was really tight. So I left that one, drilled these ones and drilled all the others. So now these are all my shims. These are all the wall plugs I took out of the wall, and I've sliced them in half. So we've got loads of shims there that we can use. If I need any more, I can obviously cut some of these ones as well and use these as well. So again, you guys can see I've got 2 shims in here. So I've essentially made this wall plug bigger on the outside. So we're going to go back to that hole that we first attempted. Now I've drilled it deeper, but you can see how hard that is to go in. So I'm definitely have to use a hammer on that. So I'm just going to push them all in, then get the hammer, and I'm going to come in, I'm going to knock them all in. Now some of them are not as bad as others. So some of them I can get away with one shim and it's tight enough. It's only the ones that got really large, and obviously that's the banisters being rocked left and right for so long. It's just caused the holes to open up. So some of them I can get away with one shim, some of them I'll need 2. You can use this technique for anything. It doesn't have to be a stair rail, it could be your picture rail, it could be a shelf, anything that's wobbly and you can see the screws coming out of the wall, and no matter how much you tighten them, the screw's just not tightening up, or it's just spinning around. It could be a kitchen shelf, kitchen wall unit, anything like that. You can use this. Sometimes it happens where you're drilling a new installation, putting up a shelf, and you've got a bad wall, or your drill slipped to the side and you've made the hole a bit bigger or something like that. You can use the same technique, just cut up a piece of wall plug and just put it in there to shim up the hole. So this is what they look like now, sticking out. So now I'm just gonna use a hammer and I should be able to knock them all in. Some of them you might end up having a little bit stuck out like that. You can use a knife and just cut it off. But what you want is to try and get as much of that in there as possible. Same thing again. So that is solid and tight in there now. You can see these there, they're really tight in here now. So all I'm gonna do is just break off this little tab and then we're good to go. There we go guys, so I've trimmed off the little bits. These are all in. That's 1, that's 2, nice and solid. 3, 4, and one of the worst ones, 5. Now I've just checked these, and actually these things are so tight that I can actually use the original screws again, which is probably better because they're black and they're not gold and they stand out. So I'm actually going to use the original screws. If I don't feel they're tight enough, I'll take them out and put the bigger ones in. But to be honest, I think these are going to be perfect now because I've put so much shims in there that these things are going to be tight to get in there. So I'm going to get 2 in there because I'm on my own. I've got to put the camera down, put these 2 in, and then I'll show you guys as I'm doing the rest. Right guys, so we're done, job done. So you guys can see I've screwed this one in here. Here as well, same thing. All the way down. So these were all sticking out the wall before. You guys can see they're all in place now. And the best thing is, this thing is absolutely solid. Not one bit of movement in it, which is how it should be. So that's it. Job done, rails are in, safe again. And hopefully my daughter not going to pull it off the wall again. So guys, that is it. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. It's a quick video, a little lesson there, little tip of the trade for some of you guys, might help you with little projects around your house. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, please give us a like, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Thanks for watching.